set your heart on Him and His promises? Are you in love with God? If you will begin to do that, you will be amazed at what God can do in your life.
Conference. My name is Vandella Wells. I'm here to encourage you, to motivate you, to inspire you, and to tell you a little bit about my faith journey. And before I get started telling you a little bit about my faith journey, when I started years ago, it began with when God was telling me to write down my testimony, to write my testimony down. But fear had gripped my heart. I was afraid. I was afraid to talk out loud. I was afraid to tell my testimony. I was afraid to, because of people, because of my voice, because of my vocabulary, it wasn't as good as others. And the way I sound, because people would laugh and used to laugh and pick at me, even at my adult age as now. And it was so when God gave me, because I've been through a lot and He brought me through a lot of things. And when He told me to start writing it down, I started writing down, and then it became a book. So that helped me to get my testimony out. So I'm like, well, yes, now I can tell my testimony could be, people can read my testimony now. I don't have to talk about it. So I don't have to worry about nobody, laughing or picking at me. So but then when that happened, God said, no, you're not through yet. Didn't know that was the beginning of my faith journey. Did not know that was the beginning. So I had to overcome that fear slowly. God was just allowing me to overcome that fear. Then after that, I started speaking, doing live. I had never done live. I started doing live, going live. Afraid, but I started doing it because I wanted to start telling people about, encourage them and about my book and everything. So God had me going that way. And I'm like, okay, that's done. God's like, no, I'm not through. That's not through. That's still just the beginning. And every time He told me to do something, I had to overcome my fear. I had overcome what people were saying about me. It didn't matter. I had overcome it because my testimony, my voice had to be heard. And even though it was written down and written on paper, God wanted me to tell it. They could hear my voice. Well, I can tell my testimony. So after that, I started, like I said, doing a live. Then after the live, after a while, I'm like, God started. Then 3 years later, God said, I want you to start a women ministry. And I'm like, okay, just hearing God, but then I'm bargaining with Him too. I'm like, you want me to start? So after, I said, well, okay. So I said, I'm going to start, in my mind, I got everything how I want to lay it out, how I want the women ministry to go and get started. Don't you know our plan, God's plan is not like our plan. How we think things should be done is not the way God wanted to be done. He just wants us to move by faith. And so I said, well, okay, started it. Something happened. I had to stop. So I I started by never, be gone with the women ministry. Then another year went by. God didn't leave me alone. He came back and told me again, He wanted me to start the women ministry. And I said, well, I'm like, okay, I started again. That didn't work. So then I'm like, okay. So then after a while, the pandemic hit. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, I started working from home, and then I started, getting more closer to God, drawing more closer to Him. And then that's when He came back to me again, and He said, I want you to start a women ministry. And I'm like, oh Lord, I know but the world shut down. The world had to shut down. I mean, nobody's going to come out. Nobody's going to be a part of the women ministry because everybody's shut down. And He's like, no, you start on social media. So I'm like, okay, can get out of it. Well, one thing about God, when God got an assignment for you to do or work for you to do, I don't care how much you try to bargain with God. God is going to give you a solution to be able to get it done. So you just have to overcome your fear. You got to overcome and just trust Him and just step out on faith and believe God. So after I started doing on social media, started encourage and open up, did a page on Facebook, and then God started and download more things into me and my spirit to do. And after a while, I started reaching, a whole lot of women and stuff. And then I started doing a live on Facebook, Sundays, checking on people. And after that, it's like they said, wanted me to start coming every Sunday. So I started doing every Sunday, just going on live and just checking on people. So it's just like God continued. It was like that was the beginning of me writing down my testimony, was the beginning of the work that God had for me to do. I had to step out on faith. I had to trust his instruction. I had to trust the way he want me to do it, not the way I wanted to do it. So when I started doing the things how he wanted me to do it, he started downloading more things in my spirit and start for me to start doing. Then I started getting on all different kind of social media and TikTok and everything else, and started inspired and spending, and giving a word of encouragement, motivating somebody, and just praying for them, whatever it was that they needed. I started doing that. So to say that because a lot of times fear get in our heart, and God have us a lot of things for us to do. He have an assignment there for us to do. That things that you went through that's a testimony for somebody else. The hardship you went through, the pain you went through, that pain, God started birthing that he started birthing into purpose. He started using that same thing that, like my voice, I was saying, people picking it. God started using that to tell for his glory, for me to speak to the world, for me to speak to someone else to encourage me with the same voice that I, didn't want to use. So I thank God that I stepped out on faith and start listening to him. I started, being obedient to what and got over my fear. I had to get over my the fear of what the enemy tried to bring to me, try to stop the assignment of God. But I thank God that, and I'm here to tell you, and God is still doing things. I'm here to tell you, don't allow fear to stop you for doing the works of God, because God got some works for you that, that you are so unique. Your voice and how you bring and present your things to God, to people, they want to hear that. Somebody is waiting on to hear your voice. Somebody is waiting on to hear your testimony. And now I'm doing it like my women ministry now once a month. I do a live, we do a girls chat, and I have different women's coming on there, and we talk, and it's open to the community. It's open to people to voice their opinion, to encourage them, and to tell our testimony, to help somebody else get over whatever they're struggling with, whatever they thought that they couldn't get over. We're on here telling them about how God delivered us and helping them with tools and ideas and experience. And I thank God because, God is just doing some wonderful things in people's lives. And I just thank God because if not, just imagine if I would just stay right there and not allow my voice to be heard. Imagine if I would have stayed there and still would have said and try to bargain with God and saying, God, you can't use this voice that everybody's picking at and talking about. God said, yeah, I want to use that same one that because I'm going to take it and use it for his glory. So I thank God that I finally okay, I overcame my fear of talking, I overcame my fear of voicing my testimony. So that's why I'm here today, to be able to talk to you, to be able to tell you, hey, and whatever your obstacle is, because you're going to have it. It's called life. When you and God give you assignment and something to do, obstacles going to come your way. Things going to come. Have things, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Things going to happen. But that's you're going to still have to keep going forward. You're going to have to still doing what God has called you to do. Because one thing about it, if he called you, he already equipped you to do the work that he already called you to do. If you don't been through something hardship, or you don't been through a divorce or abuse or drugs or whatever it is your testimony might be, somebody that's dealing with that, they needs to hear that. They want to hear it. They're waiting on you to overcome that fear, to overcome a worry about what somebody's saying, overcome a worry about somebody going to laugh at you. They waiting on you to speak in their life. They're waiting on you to speak in their life. They waiting on you to tell your testimony. You know, the Bible said we overcame. We overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. We are overcoming when we tell people what we've been through with. We are overcoming when we tell them how God brought us out. You know, a lot of times we want to be, the enemy try to get us hide our testimony. Oh, we telling too much. But that person right there is might about to end her life or his life. Or that person might don't know how they're about to break down because they don't know how to go on. And then you come along with your testimony. You come along with the same story that they've been through, and you tell them how God brought you out. Now look at you now. Look at you now. Now God don't strengthen you. God don't give you boldness. You don't overcame the fear. You don't overcame all the obstacles that the devil was putting your way. You overcame it all. And then now you're standing here now today telling your testimony. I was that girl. I was that woman that had to overcome all of it. I had to overcome I had to break down every barrel that the enemy was putting my way. Every time I go, I had to break it down just to get where I'm at now and still moving forward. So I'm here to encourage you. You have to, if you want, the dreams and vision that God given you, he put inside of you. You're going to have to step out on faith. You're going to have to trust God. You're going to have to believe him. You're going to have to, it brings to remind me of in the word of God, when the woman, when she went to the unjust God, when she went to the unjust judge, and she kept going to him. She kept going to him, and she kept going to him. And after a while, he just gave her what she wanted because of her consistency. That is another thing. You got to be consistent in. And when God gives you something, you got to keep going. You got to be consistent in that. And that's another thing that helped me when I had to be consistent in coming on Facebook and putting on encouragement words. I had to be consistent in every Sunday coming on and checking on people. I had to be consistent in every once a month I do the girls conversation. I had to be consistent in that because I never know who needed to hear me, who needed to hear my testimony, who needed to hear what God did for me. I had to be consistent. And don't you know, if the unjust judge award her what she wanted because she was being consistent, what you think about a righteous God? If he's going to see you being consistent, he's going to see you go show up when nobody's there. You showing up when ain't nobody there but just you. You showing up when ain't nobody supporting you. You showing up when nobody is patting you on your back and saying you did good. You showing up and you're being consistent. Don't you know if God see that and he's going to reward you? He's going to reward you, and he's going to start opening up doors. He's going to start sending people right there where you are. You just continue being consistent in what you're doing for the Lord, consistent in your business, whatever it is that your marriage or whatever it is that you're doing, be consistent in it. Continue showing up. And continue believing in yourself, because one thing I learned about it, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else going to believe in you. If you kind of like you don't really believe, you kind of doubting yourself, then other people are going to know that and they're going to start doubting you. So you got to believe in yourself. Believe in you. I was that person. I was that woman that I didn't believe that I can do this. I didn't believe that I can stand in front of you guys right now and tell you and encourage you and tell you a little bit about our testimony. I used to didn't believe I can do that because of fear had gripped my heart. So fear, it brings along a lot of more things. If you let fear stop, it's going to stagnate your growth in God. It's going to stagnate your growth in ministry, in whatever you're trying to accomplish in life. Fear going to be standing right there at the door if you don't overcome it. If you don't overcome that obstacle, whatever it might be, if you don't overcome it, it's going to stop you. And you're not going to be able to move forward. in God or in ministry or in your business, whatever in life that you're trying to accomplish, if you don't overcome that fear, that doubt, that unbelief, and just start trusting God and say, God, you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it to hear your instruction, because God instructions way better than ours. Like I told you earlier before, when the women's ministry told you, he gave it to me. He didn't give me no instruction. He just told me to start. And I'm trying to come up with my own instruction, how I think it should be done. And God knocked all that down and like, no, I had to listen to do it the way he want me to do it. And once I start doing it the way he want me to, and him walking by faith, and now God started just, giving me ideas and just download different things in my spirit to help another woman, to help another queen, to build them up. Because so many times we have been torn down. So many times we have been torn down. And you can look at this world as it is now. You can see how chaos it is. You can see how things are going on and happen. So we are here to help build each other's up, to help encourage someone, to help encourage, to motivate. Because I look at the world, we look at the young generation that's behind us. We look at them, they looking for somebody to stand strong. They're looking for somebody to go back and say, hey, pass the baton. Say that, hey, a word of wisdom, of knowledge or experience. And let them know, hey, I failed. I did this, I did that, but God brought me through it all. And you can do it too. The young generation, they need us. They need our strength. They need our wisdom. They need our knowledge. They need our experience. They need this. So we got to be we got to be the one that go back and get the generation, because we're not going to be always. So we're going to have to go back and we have to put it inside of them. That way, when they come upon things come in their life, they're going to look at it and say, hey, I remember my mama or my grandma or a woman in the ministry or whatever that I got strength from her. And I got wisdom and the knowledge. I see how she handled it, and I see how God brought her out. And then they're going to be able to move forward as well. So, and another thing, if I can leave with you as well, is focus. Keep your focus. Keep your focus. So many things gonna come. People gonna come in your life. People gonna leave. Things are gonna happen all around you. Keep your focus. I had to keep my focus. I had to keep my focus on no matter what nobody was doing, no matter who didn't show up, who didn't. I had to keep my focus on the goal that God gave me. I had to keep my focus. I had not to allow anybody to come and interrupt my peace, my focus that I had. I had to accomplish that, to keep my focus, because there's so many things go on and it'll get our attention. So many things are happening in our family, happening in our home, happening in our finance, and it'll try to take our focus off our goal and try to take our focus off the assignment that God have put in your life. But you got to keep your focus. You got to say, no matter what, God, I'm going to keep my focus, because if you brought me here, you're going to bring me through it. You're going to bring me through to that place where you want me to be. So I got to keep my focus on him, keep my focus on the assignment what he got for me. And another thing, another thing is to stay prayerful. Keep your relationship with God. Stay prayerful. Keep your relationship with God. Build your relationship with him. Get in your word, read. Because if you try to have a strategy or build something without God, instruction, or without hearing from him, and the only way you're going to hear from him, you got to be praying. You got to be talking to him. You got to be communicating with him. That way he can instruct you on what he wants you to do, where he wants you to go at. I always have that saying God, if you're driving, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to relax, and I'm going to enjoy the ride. Because I know a lot of times if we look at it physically, like when people driving, other people driving us, we might be kind of like nervous or scared. But when God driving the wheel, I ain't finna be nervous. I ain't finna be scared, because he is in control. He ain't finna make no mistakes. He ain't finna take you in the wrong direction. He ain't finna have no accident. When God driving, he gonna take you just your destiny safe and sound. So why should I sit there and worry? So I'm gonna kick back and I'm gonna relax, go to sleep, rest in him. And the only way you're going to do that, you're going to have to stay prayerful. You're going to have to stay building a relationship. That's what kept me. That's what kept me, and it helped build my faith. Faith. Faith come by hearing the word of God. You got to keep hearing it. You got to hear the word of God over and over again to build the faith. Because without faith, it is impossible to please God. So you got to have faith, because you got to trust him that, hey, no matter what, God, you're going to do it. No matter what, you put too much in me for me not to be able to bring it out. You put too much in me for me to be afraid or intimidated by what others think, about what others say. So if you put it in me, God, I don't want to leave this earth and don't leave a landmark on this earth that I was here to expire somebody, or I left a mark saying that I want to leave a mark saying that I was here to. I encourage somebody. I help somebody come to Christ. I help win somebody to the Lord. I help somebody put their marriage back together. I help somebody build their self-esteem back up. Or I help somebody, know their worth. Whatever it is that they're struggling with, whatever it is that they're dealing with, that I was a part of helping them to get where they need to go at. That is what I want. I wanted to be able to leave. My purpose on earth here is to encourage, to motivate, to inspire another queen or another king, to help them get where they need to go at, to tell them my testimony, to where they'll see, well, hey, if God did it for her and what she was dealing with, and she overcame every obstacle that the devil threw her way. She overcame it, and look what she's at. And look what she's at now. If I can do it, God, if you did it for her, you have no respect to person. He'll do it for you. God will do the same thing for you. You just got to know. You just got to stay prayerful. Stay in his presence. Stay in his presence. Stay before him. Stay before God. Because one thing about God, he will direct your path. He will direct you. He will give you all the instruction, all the tools, everything you need. He will. So and then get yourself in get yourself in a church that's a faith-based church that's preaching the word of God, that support you, that love you. I mean, I'm telling you all the things that help me get where I'm at now, and help me to continue on going, to continue on pushing. And God keeps saying it's just the beginning. They just beginning, and it started off with me overcoming my fear. Me overcoming my fear and telling my testimony. Now I have a voice that it can be, not only is written down in the book, but I'm able to speak now and to on a women ministry, on live, on TikTok and all other social media platform that I be on, telling the people about God, just and enjoying and inspire them and motivate them to push them to do be all you can be. Be all you can be, because God give every one of us a measure of faith. Every one of us got a measure of faith. We got to step out on that faith. We got to believe and trust God, what he is taking us, where he's taking us at. We got to believe it. So I just want to encourage you, and I hope this really I know I'm just to tell you a little bit about my faith journey, the faith that pushed me into my dreams and keep pushing me and keep taking me. Because God, I'm telling you, he just steady. And I would never think that a person with, like I said before earlier, with this, I could be able to be where I'm at now, to be able to talk to you guys on living faith out loud. I will never, you would ask me years ago, I would have never thought I would be here and being here to encourage and motivate somebody else. I don't know somebody might need to hear this. Somebody need to hear this and be able to run and see what the end is going to be able to take the word, what I'm saying, be able to hear and be able to hold on and catch faith and be able to say, hey, you know what? I got some things that I'm afraid to do, but I'm going to go ahead on. I'm going to step out. I'm going to overcome that fear, because I want more from God. I know we all want more. I know you be looking at your life and say, it's got to be more in life than just this. It's got to be more in life. My purpose on earth is more than life than just getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home, taking care of the kids, or taking care of the husband or the wife, or, doing something on the weekends or going to church. It is more about in life than just that. My purpose is more in life than just that. God, we all got purpose. All got purpose and plan for your life. You got to tap into it. You got to tap into that purpose and plan that God got in your life. And you got to, go after it, and you got to run. And you can't let anybody or anything stop you for succeeding your purpose that God have in your life. I mean, now since I overcame that obstacle, I right now I hear people, I used to hear people saying that they didn't understand my assignment. They were saying about, oh, because I was always the person behind the scene. And now since I'm on social media and different platforms, and a lot of someone that don't understand my assignment, they thinking, oh, she just want to be seen, or she just wants somebody to hear her or something. No, they don't understand my assignment. And God said, I didn't give them for them to understand. I gave it to you for you to understand it. So that don't stop me. So I keep doing it while I post, and I keep showing up. I keep, being in the women ministry and encourage and motivate. And long as I'm breath in my body, I'm going to continue doing it until it's time for me to leave. And my purpose is finished and my purpose is done. Until then, I'm going to continue on doing the will of God. I'm going to continue no matter who don't show up and who do, because somebody is going to get this word, and they're going to catch it, and they're going to run with it. Somebody's going to be blessed by what I'm here telling them now. Somebody's going to be inspired to start that business, or to start that ministry, or to start sharing their testimony. Somebody's going to be blessed about what I'm saying now. So I'm just, I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody for just listening and just staying and being in tune. Just stay in tune with God. Stay in tune with being focused. Focus on your assignment. Focus on the things of God. Stay consistent. Keep a prayer life. Keep focus. I'm gonna say keep a prayer life and keep your relationship built with God. And get into a church, a faith birth church. All right. Thank you, guys. I want to thank you all. I love you. I love you with all of God that's in me. I love you. And I just want y'all to just continue praying for me. And I just want to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity to be able to speak some words of wisdom, encouragement to them. I just thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so humble, you guys, to be here, to be able to continue on the assignment that God has for me. This is just the beginning. Tell yourself, talk to yourself like I had to talk to myself. Talk to yourself. Say, this is just the beginning. Tell yourself, keep talking to yourself. Faith come by hearing. Keep hearing yourself over. Keep talking. We got to talk about it over and over again. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be focused. I'm build a prayer life. I'm going to overcome every fear, every obstacle that the devil tried to put in my way, because I want to be all that God has for me to be. I want to live out my purpose. I want to live my faith out loud. All right. Thank you. Bless you. And y'all just continue lifting me up in prayer. And as I continue praying for all you, and just keep doing what God helped me to do. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.